So are you interested in teaching private English conversation classes, but you just don't know where to start? In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips and resources to help you get started and to feel organized teaching private classes. So hi, my name is Lindsay and I make videos on teaching in Spain and career and life topics in general. So if you're interested in those topics, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. So in this video, I just want to give you guys some ideas and help you get started teaching private English conversation classes. So tip number 1. First thing you're going to want to do is advertise your classes. So I recommend using Craigslist or any online classified website to advertise your classes for free. And also you kind of want to do a little research and figure out what is the going price in your area. And I recommend starting out a little bit high. You can always lower your rates, but just go ahead and start out high on the high end or something that you really think you want. And just start advertising on the website every single day. Now, if it's really urgent and you want to get classes as soon as possible, then you're probably going to want to start with maybe a lower rate just to go ahead and get people interested in your class. Now, word of caution once people start contacting you. Sometimes this happens in the United States. I don't know if it happens in other countries, but I'm assuming it probably does. But oftentimes if you're using Craigslist or another open online classified website, there are so many scammers out there. And there are people even scamming you with ESL classes. For example, people often contact me and say, hey, my son or daughter is going to be in your area for a month. They just want English classes 3 times a week. How much will that be? Let me know. And you guys are just texting whatever. But then as soon as you send them back a amount that's going to be, they're like, okay, all right, give me your name, give me your address. I'm going to go ahead and send you the check so you guys can get started next week. Red flag. Anytime they ask for your information or they ask for information like this up front, scam. Just run away. Don't text those people anymore. Only contact those people willing to meet in person and pay in cash. Tip number 2. Once you start to develop interest in your classes and people are contacting you, real people, you're going to want to set up days and times to meet with them. And I recommend meeting at least twice a week, if not 3 times a week, for a minimum of an hour to an hour and a half, just to get the most bang for your buck. In addition, the first meeting, I recommend it to be just a free meeting, just so you can kind of get to know them. So that goes into my tip number 3. When you're meeting for the first time and you guys are just getting to know each other, make sure you bring a pen and notebook and write down topics or interests that they're interested in talking about or learning about. It might be just business topics. It might just be conversation. It might be topics for their specific field, their career field. But just go ahead and start making notes of all those so you can plan your classes around those topics. Also, don't forget to ask your students to bring a pen and notebook as well to take notes. Alright, so tip number 4, you're going to want to go home and start preparing the curriculum. Now, you can go online and just Google different topics related to their interest and just find articles that you can take and talk about. You can find articles from Huffington Post or New York Times or the big newspapers to talk about. Or additionally, something I recommend and I like to follow is a book. The book that I recommend that a lot of websites and people recommend for private English conversation classes is this book right here. It's called Compelling Conversations. And this book does say it's for advanced ESL textbook students, but you can also use this for intermediate or just upper beginner. You can kind of adjust it to whatever level your student is at. And the thing I like about this book is that it talks about all the way from just getting to know the student. It talks about everyday life. It talks about career topics and just other areas of interest. And honestly, it covers a really broad range of topics. So for getting started and just having a curriculum to kind of go through, I recommend using this book. I'll drop the link below if you want to find out more about it. Generally, I might print off a couple of chapters, the questions, and just use those for a couple of weeks until we go through all the questions, and then print off a few more just as needed. It's pretty easy, pretty basic. In addition, if you're interested in adding grammar topics, I'll add some books below that are also good for, having some structure in your grammar lessons. For me, I prefer to just teach mostly conversation classes. So you can find the link to this book and other books below in the description, all right? So tip number 5, as you're going through the lessons with your students, make sure they write down new vocabulary or just things that are new for them. So when they do this, you can actually get them to turn this into homework. So for example, if they write down 5 to 10 different words, you can say, hey, go over those words and go home for homework and write 5 to 10 sentences or, 1 sentence for each word so that I know that you understand really how to use this word. And when you come back to class, make sure for for the first 5 or 10 minutes, you go over the homework and you go over those sentences and the vocabulary to make sure that they understand those words. And additionally, if you want to practice the vocabulary pronunciation out loud 2 or 3 times, that'll also be really helpful for your students usually. Another thing I do for homework is also print off articles like I mentioned before, or recommend a YouTube video for them to watch and just write a little summary on it, 5 to 6, 7 sentences summary on the topic or the article, and just go over that when they come back to class and just have a little conversation to see how well they understood that article or video. Alright, so there you have it. Those are my 5 tips and recommendations for resources and getting started in teaching English conversation classes. If you have any other suggestions, please write them in the comments below. Or if you have any questions, you can also drop them in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in seeing more videos like this. And thanks so much for watching.